trick question, I know. Hope you still like me. Okay, in any event. The gentleman sitting to my left with the kippah on is asking me, Rabbi, Yaakov Avinu is marrying two what?
Sisters.
I beg your pardon. What is your question? No.
It's against Torah.
It's against the Torah to marry.
Two sisters.
You want to marry two sisters? We're not going to allow you. We're not going to allow you. Once you marry a girl, her sister is considered one of the arayot, one of the forbidden relations. Arayot, it's one of the forbidden relations. So your question is what? Spit it out, Michal Aryeh. What is the question we're raising here?
What is happening here?
What's happening here? Thank you. Why is Yaakov Avinu marrying two sisters? And some of you said that what? Avraham what? Yitzchak?
Sister.
No. Avraham, Yitzchak and Yaakov?
Monogamous.
The basis of your question is that the Avot fulfilled all the Torah Kula, the entire Torah. I want to share with you, I think I saw this by my father-in-law, or I saw this in the Abarbanel and the Ramban and some others. 4 answers I want to share with you regarding is there a prohibition or not of marrying shtei achayot. Number 1, the first answer, by the way, where does it appear in the Torah? Vayikra chapter 18, verse 18. Okay, Asher, close your eyes. Where's the prohibition of marrying two sisters appear?
Vayikra 18:18.
Wow. Isn't that great how our students know everything by heart? The Chumash? It's really, really very impressionable. Yichus. To who do you get your lineage from? Your mother or your father? These two girls are not from the same mother. Rather, they are from the same father, but not the same mother. B'nai Noach, until now, until the Torah is given, their yichus, their lineage, goes back to the mother and not father. Rambam, Hilchot Menachem, chapter 9, halacha 5. Again, B'nai Noach their lineage stems from the mother and not the father, and in this case, Leah and Rachel come from two separate mothers, and therefore they're not considered halachically
Sisters.
two sisters. Rambam, Hilchot Menachem, based on Chazal, chapter 9, halacha 5. Number 2, the Ramban brings us elsewhere that in Eretz Yisrael, the Avot kept all of the Torah. Chutz La'aretz is like practice land, We're practicing to do the mitzvot. When we're in Chutz La'aretz, the situation is different. It's good to do it, but if you can't, you can't. The Ramban also brings this understanding in chapter 26 in the book of Vayikra. And therefore, the marrying of two sisters in Chutzos is not like marrying two sisters. What happens when Yaakov arrives with two sisters in Eretz Yisrael? Uh-oh. One dies. Right away. Rachel passes away. Where?
The Benjamin.
Where? Derech Ephrata. Derech Ephrata. The way of going to Ephrat in Beit Lechem. There's no marriage of two sisters. Rachel passes away. That's number 3 answer. Number 4, Yaakov was the chief rabbi. And he converted the two girls. As if he converted the two girls. Once he converted the two girls, they're no longer considered halachically sisters. Okay?
So why did Rachel die?
What?
Why did Rachel die?
Ask her. Next. She died. Her time was up. There are many reasons why she died. She died giving birth. It was a bloody birth, and the doctor wasn't on call, and they couldn't find someone. There are many reasons why she passed away.
You just said that.
I know. So there are 70 sides of the Torah. So those are the 4 answers. Therefore, the lineage of the family is suspended once the two, as if converted, meaning to monotheism, and so on and so forth. Okay, those are the 4 matters. My dear friends, Pasuk Kafchet Koach, verse 28. let's go on. And yes. Vayehi. I'm sorry. Vayas Yaakov Kain. Vayimale Shavuazot. He fills up the entire week. And now it's time for a second marriage. And this is who? Rachel. Vayitein lot Rachel bito lo liisha. It's for the purpose of marriage. Okay. Vayitein Lavan le Rachel bito in verse 29. Et bilha shivchata la le shivcha. And now the marriage is consummated in Pasuk Lamed. Vayavo gam el Rachel. That is the biyah, the intimate relations. And now that he's married to her, the Torah says, Vayehav gam et Rachel. Mi Leah. Why does he love Rachel? Because she's Rachel. But it says, Mi Leah, even more than Leah. You might have thought that this is not fair. You might have thought this is not coming to Leah. But human nature would say even the following. When a man marries a second wife, you might think that the former love that he had for the original wife is weakened, is less, because there's another woman in his relationship. You can see today in Western culture, in America and other places, where people cheat on their wives and they're with other women, and then they forfeit their love for their wife and they divorce or leave. And what is the chidush, the novelty here? The commentaries explain, in spite of what Yaakov loving Leah, he did not lose his love for her. And certainly he didn't lose his love for Rachel. Not only did not lose his love for them, but he loves even Rachel more. Why? Ever since he's together with Leah, and he knows who Leah is, he knows Rachel is, he knows that Rachel is the symbol of his mother, the qualities of his mother. So right now we have a very, very special man called Yaakov Avinu, that his nefesh is so great, he can contain love for two women. And the novelty is he still loves Leah, but of course he loves Rachel. Now, it was you, the one sitting on the side over there. You said, well, Avram Avinu didn't have two wives. And then you, opposite him, reacted, well, Yitzchak Avinu didn't have two wives. And therefore your question is, why is Yaakov marrying two wives? And maybe you might answer, well, actually you only wanted to marry what?
One.
But who's the boss?
Hashem.
There's a difference of opinion here.
No.
This gentleman thinks that Eitan thinks that Levan is in charge. And this gentleman, also from Holland, Michal Arith says, no, who's the boss? Hashem. You want to argue?
No.
Okay. You're a Landsman, you can still argue with him. Like, in Dutch, you can still speak. You know what a Landsman is, David? The answer is, Hashem, it's not the Tokyo Stock Exchange that's causing the world to go around. Hashem is revolving the world round and round. And he saw and knew that Rachel will be a barren woman. According to her nature, she will not be able to have children. And even in a manner of a wonder, the Abarbanel says, she might be able to give birth to one or to two children. So Yaakov will not be able to multiply. He will not be able to form a nation that will later go down, or a big family will go down to Mitzrayim. How many children and grandchildren were there when he went to Mitzrayim? 70 nefesh, okay? Because of this, Hashem wants Yaakov to take another wife. And by the way, before the Mabul, before the flood in the world, it was very customary in the world to have several wives. Furthermore, when you have two wives, okay, no one here has any experience of that, right? I hope at the same time, right? When you have two wives, the Talmud calls them, in Masechet Yevamot, tsarot, that they cause tsarot to one another. They cause trouble to one another, right? Okay? I don't know if there's an expression, but you don't want to have two wives in the same kitchen, right? In the same time. Is there an expression like that in other languages or cultures?
You don't want two people.
Ken. It's a very sensitive thing. By the way, I want to give you advice. God willing, when you marry and you have your mother come to visit and so on and so forth, in-laws or so, it's a very sensitive time. You have to give due respect to your wife and due respect to your mother, and everyone has to have their own room. You have to make sure that your wife is fine with your mother coming to do the laundry or coming to the kitchen and doing this or that. I was very blessed with my grandmother in blessed memory, who helped raise me Jewishly in my young years. She migrated from Romania between World War I and World War II to New York. And I was the eye of her life. She only had two kids, my father and my uncle in blessed memory. And I was really the eye in her life of all the grandchildren. She made it her business. Every time my wife gave birth, she came for the birth until Hannah. Like the first first 5 kids, she came for every birth. She baked and she cooked, and my wife was so happy. Do whatever you want to do, Grandma. We love you, and you have to make sure that you have the okay. Otherwise, sometimes one could be too sensitive to the other, and there could be problems. Here, so we call them rivals or tsarot, 2 wives, one to another, and like we say, it may cause trouble to husbands. Therefore, Hashem says, look at this, I want the 2 wives of Yaakov Avinu to be sisters. Sisters. Sisters get along with one another. Okay? Sisters, 2 sisters as wives. For this will obligate, they have love to one another, there's closeness to one another, and it'll have an effect also on the children being born. However, Leah, let's interview her. How does she feel? Let's see what she feels. Pasuk. By the way, Yaakov is consummating the marriage by what? Working. Vayavod imo od sheva shanim acherot, as it states in the end of verse 30, and this is a prelude to Asher's question.
It says on the Lamed, Vayahav gam et vacher. Why do you say the word gam? It seems like,
Okay, so the Sforno asks your question. There are several answers here, and the Sforno says, there's one understanding that, a little opposite of what I said before, that once you had your first wife, and now you have a second wife, you might think that you won't have love for the second wife, because you love the first one so much. The gam is, in spite of that fact, he still loves Rachel. Another meaning is, he loves Rachel not because he can fulfill marital relations with her, but because she's Rachel. It's Rachel for who she is. And therefore her attributes, her character traits, her great midot is what he loves very much. However, the word the prefix me is may, more than. So he loves Leah more than Rachel, and that has an expression. To what extent? And I want to ask you, is it true or not? Pasuk Lamed Aleph, verse 31, Vayar Hashem ki snua Leah, vayiftach et rachma v'Rachel akara. Ki snua Leah. Literal translation? Leah, ki snua Leah. Proper translation?
She hated Leah.
she wasn't loved.
Doesn't say that he hates Leah. Ki snua Leah. Translation, I asked you.
She was hated.
She was hated. Snua. It's in the pu'al, in the passive tense. Now, let's ask a question. Does that mean that Yaakov hated Leah?
No.
No. No, Chalila, God forbid, Yaakov is the epitome of completion, of righteousness, of completion, of wholesomeness to God. Is he going to hate Leah? No, he says he loves them both. But what does Leah feel?
Competition.
Competition, what else? And she's the Bechorah, she's like the oldest, and maybe she thinks everything should be coming, or more should be coming to her, once there's another woman in the life of Yaakov Avinu. So this is a very subjective matter, feeling, emotion inside her heart. So the Torah says God sees. God is the judge of the world. He saw that Yaakov Avinu has amazing character traits. On the one hand, remember Yaakov Avinu has the nature of a firstborn, because he bought the firstborn, but he also has the nature of being the younger son. And here, two daughters of Lavan, unlike the father, are very righteous. They're good-hearted. Hashem wants both of these girls to be the builders of Beit Yisrael. Now, Leah is the Bechorah. She's the oldest. Rachel is the Tzira, the younger. Look at the results here, gentlemen. How they prove that Hashem's divine supervision was involved. Okay? Avram Avinu, do you remember? He had two children, although from two wives. Could they live together, yes or no? No, they could not live together. Yishmael was sent away. Yitzchak also had two children. Okay? Twins from one wife called Rivka. Esav could or not live with Yaakov? No. Yaakov is about to have 2. He wants to be safe. No, give me the complete number, thank you. You'd bet 12 children. From how many wives? 4. It's like Las Vegas, we're playing numbers here. What's going on here? Right? 4 wives. Chazal say the following. Some of you who prayed the Psukei de Zimra, Birchot Kriyat Shema, Kulam ahuvim, kulam berurim, kulam kedoshim. That term that I just used is used where? The bracha before the Shema. Okay, about the angels. Okay, and all of them are praising God. That's what we have right here. All of the 12 are going to be super duper righteous stars. Yet, Mrs. Leah feels hated. There's no doubt that Yaakov Avinu loved Leah. So why does the Torah testify that Hashem sees Kisnu Leah? Because he did love Rachel more than he loved Leah. But it's not that he didn't carry or maintain marital relations with Leah. But as far as you compare the relationship that he had with Rachel to the relationship of Leah, it was this that she felt as if she was hated. But hated here means, like Usher said 4.5 minutes ago, less loved. The term snua, we can prove from several examples of the Chumash that it means less love. For instance, let's take the classic example, correct, in Chumash Devarim, when it talks about ki tiyena leish shtei nashim, when a man has 2 wives, and then from those 2 wives, he has a firstborn and a secondborn. No, is that right? It's kitena leishtei nashim.
Woman he loved, you have the.
And he says, kitena leishtei nashim, ha'uva vasnua. Gee, a man is married to 2 women. One is loved, one is hated. So what are you marrying her for? So what is the meaning of that pasuk there in the book of Durham? Hated.
Less love.
There you go. That's what I learned from my father, Rav Horowitz.
This pasuk doesn't say who hated.
Machon, it's her subjective feeling.
Right.
Ki snua leah. Very good, Moshe. It's ki snua leah. What you're bringing, the point is what Rav Shimshon Raphael Hirsch says. Okay, the Torah does not say. Maybe you heard this from me 15 years ago. Ki, and you remember it so well. What a memory. Okay, the Torah does not say. Okay, ki, by the way, the Torah could have said, "Vayar Hashem ki leah snua." I changed the order. If the Torah would have said, Vayar Hashem, and God saw, Ki Leah Snua, that would really objectively mean that Leah is hated. But the Torah says, Ki Snua Leah. Okay? She's less loved. That's her subjective feeling. Okay? Like we said in Devarim chapter 21. Now, Rav Leo Kitov, in his commentary, I want to end the show with this point. Only God could testify to a fact which is so deep and rooted in a person's heart. Only the Almighty knows how much does Yaakov really love Leah. Only He, and He only can testify that Yaakov loves Rachel to even a greater height. So Vayar Hashem, the emphasis, Hashem saw Ki Snua Leah. Okay? It doesn't say that Yaakov acted with hatred, God forbid, or evil to Leah, but Vayar Hashem. Why? Because there's no creature on the planet of Earth, in Haran or elsewhere, that witnessed any such hatred whatsoever. Only, as Chazal say, Hashem is bochen klayot. What is a kiliyah? Klayot? Kidneys. Only Hashem can testify, examine what's going on in your kishkes, what's going on inside your inner being. Okay? So he saw that the love for Leah was not as great as it was for Rachel. Beseder. And now, Hashem's going to give a test. And this test regarding who will be barren and who will be not, we will continue tomorrow. Yishar Kol Chacham.